Last time on Improv Tabletop, we had 3 different heroes in disparate places across Middle-earth, and they all gathered together to the Council of Elrond in Rivendell in Lothlorien at the end of the Brandywine River, past the Marsh of Dead Men, also past Misty Mountain, etc., etc. You know how it is. So, first of all, we had Gandalf running from a Nazgul that had just eaten Scooby-Doo, but he managed to save Scooby and bring both Scooby and Shaggy to Rivendell, with some fancy magic and also just poking him in the stomach with his wizard staff. Then we had Courage the Cowardly Dog, who was sailing on the Buckleberry Ferry. He tried to help Eustace catch a fish, and turns out it wasn't a fish, it was a zombie that tried to kill him, and also had one of the Palantirs, the lost Palantirs. And you heard the voice of Sauron saying, "Return the ring or suffer my curse." You eventually then managed to get yourself to Rivendell also, while Miro was getting hit on by Johnny Bravo. It's a whole big thing. And the third person was Rigby the raccoon, who was traveling through the mines of Moria with his friends from the park, and ended up only he and Skips were the only ones who got through. Mordecai went back and tried and save Benson. Maybe we'll see them again at some point, but we'll have to see. They did have a battle of the bands against the Drums in the Deep, and they won, but they lost people along the way. Pyrrhic victory. That's how it be in the Fellowship of the Ring. Eventually, you made it to Elrond's court in Rivendell in Lothlorien. You had a conversation to figure out who would bear the ring, and it was decided that Courage the Cowardly Dog would carry the ring, and a fellowship was gathered. Gandalf, Courage, Rigby, also someone who was mechanically attached to each of them, Eustace, Skips, and Pippin, and also 3 other randos, Samurai Jack and Blossom the Powerpuff Girl, and Ed. But one person was doomed to not be part of the Fellowship any longer at the end of Book 1, and that ended up being Blossom, because she was shot down from the sky in a turning from cartoon into live action mishap, and she slid all the way back down the pass at Caradhras, down back towards Rivendell, while you guys landed on the other side in the park, where Rigby was able to grab some supplies, and you guys were able to get some snacks and restaurant recuperate and whatnot. Whew, a lot of stuff happened in that episode. What's going to happen next?
It's a full book.
It is a full book. We got through a whole book in one episode, and we're about to do it again. Just watch us here in the world of the Toon Towers. What's shaking, everybody? You're listening to Improv Tabletop, the Fate RPG actual play where we make up everything on the spot and also make a mockery of incredibly beloved intellectual properties. I'm Ned Wilcock, your host and GM, and today I'm joined by...
Caleb Anderton, hoping that the winter storm doesn't kill my recording tonight.
Oh boy.
Christian Randall. It's so beautiful here. It's so sunny.
Thomas Ryan. I'm here too.
Yeah, if the banjo interference doesn't end up being too bad this time around, then hopefully we'll be able to make it through all right.
I hope so.
But yeah, like I said, we're doing a whole book in this episode, so let's just jump right onto it. We got a lot of ground to cover. So, after taking some time to rest and recuperate in the park, you can see between you and Mount Doom, the place where you must destroy the ring. The next place that's right up in front of you is, it's Rohan. Rohan's just hanging out right there, waiting for you.
Like the riders of Rohan or the land of Rohan?
The land of Rohan. Though, okay, wait, I need to remember the map. The map, not as it actually exists, the map as we have established it.
Yes.
Because, as I recall, we decided that the pass at Caradhras, however you pronounce it, cuts right through the forest of Lothlorien, because there's one side of the forest that has Rivendell in it, and there's the other side of the forest that has the park from Adventure Time in it. Mm-hmm. And so, you guys are still in the forest, so you need to get out of the forest before you can get to Rohan, but that's kind of the next step along the way.
I only know one horse really well, and I don't think he's here. Party Horse is probably too busy to help us. But don't you have a horse, Gandalf?
Yes, I have Shadowfax. Let me whistle. I'm sure he'll show up.
And at the behest of your whistling, you hear galloping, clippity-cloppeting coming through the forest, and Shadowfax appears from outside of the wonderful gnarled trees. And you see a head kind of peeks out after Shadowfax, a very tree-ish head, and says,
Passage through Fangorn Forest you desire.
Yes, Treebeard.
I'm hiding from the giant tree.
Amazing to see you so far from your home.
What are you talking about? Fangorn in Entish is the same as Lothlorien in Elvish. This is the same forest.
I am horrified of this gigantic tree man, and I'm currently hiding behind Eustace. No, Skips. Skips is way bigger. I'm hiding behind him.
Yeah, Eustace is going, where to leave my chainsaw? And he's like, he heads over towards one of the shacks here in the park trying to find a chainsaw that he can use to fight against Treebeard.
I'd like to ride on the shoulders of the big tree.
You are a being of the forest, small one. Come ride upon my shoulders.
Okay.
Everyone else, on to Shadowfax with me.
Everyone else on the Shadowfax.
In true cartoon fashion, I think we can fit 8 of us on this horse.
We do a similar thing where Skips creates the base and just holds out his massive gorilla arms, and you can all sit on his arms.
Cool. Let's ride Skips riding Shadowfax.
The forest is unhappy of late. Saruman off in the distance comes and chops down our friends. It is bad.
Well, we gotta stop that. You can't cut down trees in the park. It's illegal.
A great citation we shall place upon this Saruman.
I pull out a citation book I stole from Benson.
Continuing to travel through the forest, you pop out to the other side where the land has been raised of trees, and you see before you splitting off into 2 separate paths, one path leading towards Isengard and one path leading towards Rohan.
Are we splitting the fellowship?
No, you fool.
I think I can handle this guy by myself. We get interlopers in the park. I'll meet you at Helm's Deep on the other side. Deal?
All right. Be careful.
I, for one, would like to say that this is a terrible idea. Never split the fellowship.
Splitting the party never goes poorly. Do not worry, this small one shall have me to take care of him.
So, we're going to split the party, apparently. Let me roll to see which place we're going to go to first. Are we going to follow... well, I guess I'm assuming that the rest of you, Gandalf and Courage and everybody else, are going to Rohan then?
Yep.
Yeah, I suppose we must.
That's the plan.
All right. Yeah, let's head right on over to Rohan then. You start traveling over the hills, over the crags, until eventually you see the great hall of King Theoden laid out before you in all of its grandeur, and you are heralded in as kings to the hall of Theoden. But you see before you a people browbeaten and downtrodden, worrying how they're going to make it through this terrible time as you hear whispers of the king having lost his mind. And you enter into the hallway and you see this decrepit old man, a crown upon his head, sitting in a throne covered in furs, and he speaks out to you.
Interlopers in my hall. What brings you to Rohan?
The courtesy of your hall is somewhat lessened of late, Theoden King.
We're just trying to take this ring to Mordor. I'll show him the ring. I'm just gonna, it's on my neck. I'm gonna hold it up.
And as you present your arguments, you hear a voice from the shadows, and you see, before the face reveals itself, you just see a big smile gleaming from the shadows, and a voice begins to speak. These men, my lord, are not your friends. Their presence shall foretell your end. I'd rather you listen to me instead, and keep yourself quite naughty.
No.
And Freaky Fred of Courage the Cowardly Dog fame slinks his way out of the shadows, a big smile plastered on his face.
I want you guys to look up Freaky Fred after this. You're gonna die. I'm gonna scream.
Yeah, Freaky Fred is Muriel's nephew who kind of tries to murder Courage, I think.
Amongst other things, yeah.
Yeah, amongst other things.
What a horrifying looking little being.
Yeah.
Ooh,
He sure is something.
he's bad.
Yep, everybody go look up Freaky Fred. He always speaks in rhyme, and those rhymes always end with naughty.
Yes.
And Theoden looks over at this new face and says,
Freaky Fred, my trusted advisor. Would you take care of these interlopers for me? Take care of... I am so tired.
And he just falls asleep on his chair.
Gandalf, what's wrong with Theoden?
Black magic of Saruman. Freaky Fred, no doubt, is one of Saruman's cohorts. We must destroy him if we are to destroy the hold Saruman has on Theoden.
Oh, how do you destroy a guy? I'm gonna Google that. I'm gonna pull out my computer again. How do I destroy Freaky Fred?
Oh, well, last time you just let the police take care of it for you. Why don't you just let them do that for you again, you cowardly little twit?
Okay. I'll go over to the payphone in the corner. But alas, I don't have any quarters. Does anyone have a quarter?
And I'll go over.
I have some. I took my hat off in Rivendell, and someone thought I was a beggar, so they dropped it in my hat. Here you are.
Thank you. I'll put it in and call the police.
All right, you call up 911, and as it's ringing, you hear a "Rrrr, rrrr." That's like the ringing noise of the phone.
Yeah, that makes sense.
On the other side, the line is picked up and says, "You speak with Eomer of the Rohirrim. What can be done?"
Freaky Fred is destroying Theoden from the inside out, and he's working for Saruman, and I need you to take him away!
This have I suspected for many ages. Freaky Fred, his gaze lingers too long upon my sister, and because of him I was banished from my homeland. I will return now in grandeur and glory to take back that which is rightfully ours. And you hear more whinnying of horses as the line goes dead, and Freaky Fred takes a step forward and says, "Ah, people from outside you seek to bring. Upon this phone my foes you ring. But you have forgotten one little thing, that I am still quite naughty." And he holds his hands in front of his face, and you see black energy begin to flicker between his fingers.
I'm going to run away.
In preparation for this battle, I am going to throw off my gray overcloak that I have, but there was nothing in the last episode that turned me into Gandalf the White, and so there's just more gray underneath.
No, not his backup cloaks.
Yeah, so looks like we've got a duel going on between Gandalf and Freaky Fred, sorcerer versus wizard. So, how would you like to attack first, Gandalf?
I am going to first defend. I will conjure up a defensive shield with my magic, like Gandalf does against the Balrog.
Wielder of the Flame of Arnor.
And I'll make that to block this creepy sorcerer magic that he's going to hurl at me.
All right. I think let's have you roll to create an advantage then that you can use to block against him. Let's have you do that with probably Clever to construct the proper magical spell.
That's a +2.
Nice.
All right, so you are going to create this new aspect, this defensive shield, and you get one free invoke on it that you can use. And now he comes walking towards you, and he says, "A beard of grey upon your chin, by which you are known amongst your kin. But how would you feel if it was instead removed by me, for I am naughty?" And he pulls out a big pair of clippers, because this is Freaky Fred's thing. He is a deranged barber that is not made up. Go watch the episode.
Completely real. It's ridiculous.
And he is going to try and shave your gray beard from your chin.
The source of his power.
Yes, he's going to attack with Forceful to try and break through your shield. How would you like to defend?
I would like to twirl my staff and whack the shears out of his hand so that they go careening off into the distance.
All right. That sounds perhaps careful to me, unless you want it to be just force against force. I could see it going either way.
Sure, I'll go with forceful.
Okay. Roll to defend with Forceful. Freaky Fred has gotten a 3.
+1.
Ooh.
That's rough.
I'm going to invoke my aspect, You Shall Not Pass, and spend a fate point to add 2. That still puts it at a tie.
That does bring it to a tie. And remember, you still have the free invoke on the defensive shield that you have created.
Oh, that's right. Yes, I'll invoke that. What does that give me?
That is a free invoke. Like a normal invoke, it gives you either a +2 or a reroll.
I'll take the +2 to bring it up to a +5.
All right. So yeah, he approaches you with the clippers, and with one deft motion, you knock them. They go flying out of his hand and gleam in the light before they stick into... You see, like, Theoden's throne has fancy carved horse heads by, like, the armrests, and it pierces right into the forehead of one of the horses on the armrest of the throne.
Perfect.
Symbolic.
Yes, he's going to take 2 stress from that, and he glares at you in anger. That is it for his turn. What would you like to do?
I want to make this attack clever. I saw that taking out his shears did actual stress to him. I want to figure out what other part of him would really just kind of undermine who he is and attack that.
Yeah, so he has this weird fixation on removing the hair from other people in a weird psychotic kind of way. Again, Courage the Cowardly Dog is quite its own thing. Check out the episode if you want context for this.
Season 1, episode 4, if you're looking for it.
Yes. But should his hair be removed, who knows what would happen to him?
Ooh, yes. I reach into my pocket and pull out a pine cone, and I blow on the pine cone, and blue flame appears on the pine cone, and I throw it right so where it's going to burn off his hair.
All right, that sounds clever to me. He's going to roll with Quick to try and dodge. And he rolls very well. He gets a 3 on this one.
Okay, I rolled a +4.
All right.
Nice.
Yeah, the cone, he tries to dodge out, but it just barely catches him before he's able to make the way out. And his hair is currently on fire. It is not burned entirely away, but he is, he's on fire. He's not happy about it. And now it is his turn. He is going to try and fight fire with fire. He's going to try and headbutt you with his flaming hair.
Oh, wow.
So he's going to roll with Forceful to try and just get you right in the gut. How would you like to defend?
Once again with Clever, I want to anticipate his forward motion and position my staff so that he actually bonks his head right on my staff.
Okay, that sounds pretty clever to me. Go ahead and roll to defend as such. He's very consistent. You're going to need to beat a 3 on this one.
I rolled a 3. I'm just going to invoke Gandalf means me. You can't hit Gandalf with a simple headbutt. So I'm going to add +2 to that, spending another fate point.
All right, and that brings your result to?
+5.
Oh, yeah. Just like before, he comes in with an attack, you defend in just the right way, and truly, just like you set it up to be, he's coming in and he's even, like, going to do sort of a spin at the very end, like careening himself towards you like a spinning dart of flame, and he bonks the very top of his cranium, cracks into the tip of your spear, and there is a bright flash of light as he is thrown backwards against the wall of the feasting hall and slides down, moaning unhappily. He is looking pretty rough, but is not out quite yet. That means it is once again your turn.
Yeah, I am going to finish him off and come in, and this isn't, once again, I'm going for clever. This isn't necessarily a forceful attack, but I'll come in spinning my staff and just at the perfect spot, like right in the center of his head, which now I'm hoping has no more hair. I'm just going to deliver a very precise blow with my staff.
Sounds good to me. He is going to roll with Clever to see if he can get his wits about him. I mean, he has just been slammed up against the wall. His hair's completely gone. He's going to see if he can gain enough composure to dodge out of the way. And he gets a flat 0.
Dang.
Man, I need a reroll. I rolled a -1. I guess I could use my last fate point.
Could I assist?
How would you propose to assist?
So I've got the Phial of Galadriel. I want to blind Freaky Fred.
Oh, yeah. That would give Gandalf a +1, bringing it up to a tie.
Helps.
Absolutely. I will take that. And then I'm going to use a fate point and invoke, I know this is my trouble, but I'm going to look over at Pippin and for once let all of the poor people, the small people in Middle-earth that I am fighting for, fuel my actions and bring to memory all the things that Gandalf is fighting for. And I'm going to invoke that and bring it up to a +2.
Yeah, you look over at Pippin and you share this rare moment of connection with him, of like sort of honest, genuine respect. And Pippin the entire time has been kind of cowering in the corner next to Courage, and he saw that Courage took this moment to do something that was bold and brave and heroic. And Pippin is kind of scanning around, trying to see if there's anything he can do to gain an advantage, and he sees the corner that Freaky Fred emerged from. There's a little plate of tomatoes sitting on the table in front of the chair where Freaky Fred had been sitting. And Pippin is furious. He's like, oh, no! And he runs forward and he pins Freaky Fred just in time for you to let in that one final crack in the center of his forehead. And Freaky Fred goes limp before you on the ground. And in his mind, one final monologue limerick. And thus I came to my poor end. These people here were not my friends. And that is why I am now dead, because I was too naughty.
What a rhyme.
Yep. And as Freaky Fred has this last internal monologue, you hear the feast hall doors burst open and the drawing of bowstrings. Rohirrim, nobody move!
Getting that cops crossover anyway. How is Theoden looking right now?
He's still asleep on his throne.
So I believe when we left, wherever we left, I can't even keep track of the places anymore, that we were given a bunch of Muriel's happy plums.
You were, yes.
Could I feed one to Theoden?
Yeah, you give Theoden some happy plums, and true to what Muriel says, these plums have the power to make anyone happy. You put it into his mouth, give him a little, kind of move his jaw so it chews, and you see his skin beginning to tighten, his withered hair starting to grow back into his scalp and gain color, and he looks up at you and says, "Those plums are fantastic. I must know the recipe."
They were made by Muriel. She's pretty great.
A mother's love, truly, is able to dispel the greatest darkness which casts upon the heart of mankind. Darkness brought by those worms, such as this one.
And he gets up from his throne, and he pulls the clippers out of the head of the horse where they'd been impaled from the throw. And he points them down at Freaky Fred and says, "Remove this body from my sight. I can no longer stand to look upon it." And Éomer comes rushing up with a couple of Rohirrim, and they grab it and cart it off. And Theoden looks around and says, "Well then, now that my wits are back about me, what brings you to Rohan this day?"
This, and I'll pull the ring out again and just like, we're trying to throw this in a volcano.
Ah, the volcano, Mount Doom itself, far on the other side of Helm's Deep.
And at the mention of Helm's Deep, Éomer steps forward and says, "My lord, the wild men attack. They bring with them an army of Uruk-hai raging across Rohan. We must retreat to Helm's Deep where we may make our stand." And Theoden says, "That is narratively expedient. Everyone, to Helm's Deep!" And now let's cut over to Isengard, where Rigby, you have been riding on Treebeard's shoulder, and the entire time he's been like,
And then I saw two youths. They came up and tried to carve their initials into my side with a heart surrounding them. And I decided, you know what, these two are very cute, so I allowed it.
That's pretty chill of you, man.
I was not always so. In my youth, I could be perhaps hasty on occasion, if you can believe it.
Well, speaking of hasty, I was impressed at how quickly you took down that guy. I can't believe we're almost to Helm's Deep. You're a quick walker.
Yes, Saruman, though he had strong will, he was weak of body, and now it lies broken upon the ground, because I am so strong and so great.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I missed it.
It wasn't too phenomenal. You didn't miss much, to be honest. But look, Helm's Deep lies yonder before us. Soon we shall regroup with your friends, yes?
I'm excited. I'll tell you what, Helm's Deep, I think it's pretty cool. It's good to see you, Treebeard. I'm going to Helm's Deep.
Good to see you.
And he takes you in his big bark-like hand, and he just tosses you up over the walls of Helm's Deep.
Sweet. I will fully just take the brunt of the impact and then pop back up and make sure my bazooka didn't go off.
All right.
I forgot you had a bazooka.
Make sure it didn't go off as if you wouldn't have noticed.
Boy, I really hope this didn't go off.
I'm going to make a luck roll to see if it did happen to go off on the impact. It did not go off on the impact.
I'm going to go up to the gate and knock.
The doors open, and you see on the other side, you hear the stretching of bowstrings. Rohirrim, don't move! And Éomer steps out and says, why have you come to Helm's Deep, small creature, small interloper?
And I reach up and I grab the shoulder pads that I'm wearing and I rip them off. And I'm wearing cut-off jean shorts and a mullet. And I say, I'm here to defend Helm's Deep. And then I cock the bazooka like a shotgun.
I'll say roll to create an advantage with flashy.
Okay. That is a plus... Oh, I have a +3 to it naturally, so +4.
Wow. So, yeah, you have created a new situational aspect for yourself as long as you are on the grounds of Helm's Deep. The aspect I'm going to give you is you've got the touch.
Cool.
I've got the power. I've got the touch.
Yeah, a little callback to our Transformer Rejects campaign.
Fun fact, that song is also featured in regular show.
Which I love so much. And because of your successful roll, Success with Style, you get 2 free invokes on that.
Ooh.
And Éomer is so impressed, he says, surely you are with Gandalf and the timid one. Come, join me. And he starts leading you through the streets of Helm's Deep up to the keep inside, where you are reunited with Gandalf and Courage and the rest of the crew. Now, we've already given Rigby an opportunity to create a situational aspect. Let's give that same opportunity to Gandalf and Courage. So, Gandalf, what is something interesting that you've noticed about Helm's Deep that you may be able to use to your advantage?
I look around and I notice that Helm's Deep has been well equipped with catapults and trebuchets and things like that, full of just massive, ginormous pies. We are going to pie the oncoming army in the face to death, hopefully.
All right.
To death.
Nice. I think we'll create an aspect called the Superior Siege Weapon. Go ahead and roll unmodified, difficulty of 0, to see how many free invokes you might get on that.
That's a flat 0.
Ooh, all right. So the aspect is created, but there are no free invokes either for yourself or for your enemies. So
we can invoke it, it'll just cost a fate point.
Correct.
Okay.
And now over to Courage. What's something that you have noticed around here?
Well, I was just noticing that there's a whole bunch of tomato fields around the palace up top. I was wondering about that.
All right. I'm wondering about it too. We will call this aspect supplies, stocking up, prepping, something to that effect. We'll call this aspect self-sustainability. Go ahead and roll to see how many free invokes you might be able to get.
That's a -1.
Oh,
all right.
Oh, no.
So the aspect is created, and somehow or other, the orcs and the wild men might be able to use this to their advantage somehow. How's that going to be? We'll have to find out, because now that you have reunited, you hear the trumpeting of fell horns off on the distant horizon, and the marching of feet, more iron-shod feet than you have ever heard before in your lives, tramping up over the hill outside of Helm's Deep. And as you look over the walls, you can see this massive oncoming force moving towards you. And so, I don't know if we've ever done anything on kind of like the war scale or the siege scale before in Fate. Let me take a quick gander in my books and see if there's any special systems we might be able to use for this.
As they get closer, I'm going to say, wow, that sounds like an Ace Balthazar concert coming this way. And I'm going to get my bazooka up on my shoulder just in case.
I think we'll keep it simple and we'll go with our contest rules that we've been using quite a bit recently. The idea being that you're both moving towards similar goals, and whoever ends up reaching their side of the goal first is going to be the one who kind of overall succeeds.
Nice.
So we're going to need your side to get 3 victory points in order to succeed before your opponent gets 3 victory points. So as you see them approaching towards you in this very first round, each of you is going to take an action. You'll make either an attack or an overcome roll, depending on what action that ends up being, and we'll see at the end who has the best result. and that will give either a victory point to your side or the opposing side. So, Caleb, Gandalf the Wizard, you see the forces of darkness encroaching upon Helm's Deep. What would you like to do?
All right, I'm going to use my final fate point to launch the pies.
All right. So that is going to give you either a free reroll or free +2 on your result. I think as you are commanding these people around you, this is more of a tactician's mind sort of thing you're doing here. Let's have you roll to attack with Clever.
That's a flat 0. I'm going to take the reroll.
Ooh, yeah, that's definitely the better option to take here.
Oh, that's a -1.
-1. Ooh.
It's not going well.
That's fine.
Yeah, so you begin launching a volley of pies off in the direction of these Uruk-hai, and as they see them coming in, you hear them starting to yell, "Pies? We ain't had nothing but maggoty bread for 3 stinking days!" And they get incredibly excited that all these pies are flying towards them. They are going to roll with Quick to see how fast they can eat up these pies to regain some stamina to boost them for future rounds. And they don't get an amazing roll. They only get a +1 on this. But that is their roll for the round. They're still winning against Gandalf's -1, but that brings us up to Christian. What would Rigby like to do?
Rigby sees the one running towards the wall with the torch in its hand, and he's going to be like, "That's the guy I gotta stop." So he's going to point the bazooka, and he's going to try and take out that guy before he gets to the base of the wall.
Yeah, it sounds like, the bazooka is the flashiest weapon probably on this entire battlefield, so roll to attack with Flashy.
I probably only have one shot with this thing, right?
It's an elven rocket launcher. So,
the elven magic of old.
yes.
3 pluses on the die.
Ooh,
nice.
Plus another 3. Makes it 6.
Yeah. So we are currently succeeding with style. The bazooka goes shooting out, and the guy with the torch is running. You can hear the John Williams Olympics theme playing in the background as he's running, getting ready to blow up the wall, and he looks up and sees the missile, and he goes skidding on his feet trying to turn around, but there's too much loose shale here on the mountainside, and he goes skidding right into the bazooka, and there is a huge explosion, and there's not really anything left to see after that point.
As the missile approaches and you hear the Olympic theme playing, it gets taken over by the song "You've Got the Touch" as I invoke that.
You got the power!
The explosion just freeze frames and it becomes a +8. And I would like it to be so powerful it actually accidentally does blow a hole through the wall anyway.
What?
Oh, nice.
What?
Look, I want to stick this much to the cannon. And by this much, I'm holding my fingers very close together.
There we go. I will give you a fate point for compelling your own personal laziness, I suppose. Not being quite as careful as you could be about where you were landing this bazooka blast.
Yeah, I'm just trying to make things go boom.
And make things go boom, you did. Courage, there's a big hole in the wall. What would you like to do?
Scream and run away.
That's on brand.
What I'm gonna do, I can see that things are not going well since there's a giant hole in the wall. I'm gonna put the ring on and see if I can figure out what Sauron, what his plan is here. Is he just trying to get to me? Is he trying to destroy everything? What's the goal?
Yeah, you put on the ring, and similar to when you first laid hands upon the Palantir, you again begin to hear that voice from further off in Mordor, but everything around you is in kind of this wispy, ghostly sort of realm, and the voice from Mordor begins to, once again it says, "Return the ring or suffer my curse," because that is the saying that must be said in this instance. But the other things that you catch from, as Sauron is speaking the fell tongue into your ears, you realize that his plan is he wants to just kind of take over absolutely everything, and he wants to stop you from destroying the ring. You are the only thing that could potentially stop him from taking over. If the ring stays intact, then the world of man shall fail. And you hear his voice say, "There's the ring. Now suffer my curse." And the rest of you hear a very high-pitched screeching noise lifting above the sounds of battle coming from the Uruk-hai. And you look up and you see a big ol' fell beast flying through the air towards you.
Now that I've realized that he's going to destroy everything, I think I'm going to take off. I want to sneak out of Helm's Deep and take that ring to Mordor.
All right. Roll to overcome with sneaky. But I'll give you... I mean, you're wearing the ring. You're invisible right now. I think I'll give you 2 free invokes on this if you need them.
Oh, yeah.
So I rolled a -2.
Oh, boy.
But with my sneaky, that's a -1. I'm going to use both the invokes. I need to get out of here.
You could use one of the invokes to re-roll, and then maybe it's not so bad.
Oh, I could?
That's true.
I did get 3 minuses and 1 plus. Yeah, I'll do a re-roll instead and just see what happens.
Risk it for the biscuit.
Hot dog! That's much better. That's a 3.
Okay. With your sneaky is 3. With that extra invoke, that can bring it up to a 5 in total.
Yes, please.
Okay. I'm going to roll clever for the bad guys to see if there's any chance that they notice you. No, there's no chance that they notice you. Yeah, you're able to sneak off unnoticed by everybody except for Sauron.
No big deal.
Well, once I'm out of Helm's Deep, I'll take the ring off.
Yeah. Remove the ring, and you see the rest of Helm's Deep behind you as this Nazgul is flying in from above, getting ready to join on the attack. But because of the success with style that we got from the bazooka, you guys currently have 2 victory points over the 0 victory points that the Uruk-hai have. So you only need 1 more victory point to clinch this in your favor. So let's bring it back around to Gandalf. What would you like to do?
I think it's time. I am using my stunt to turn myself and maybe other things from live action to cartoon.
Ooh, okay.
Hopefully that can have some negative consequences for the bad guys.
Yeah, roll to overcome with clever.
All right, that is a +6.
+6.
Hot
Holy
dog.
cow.
I tell you what, when we succeed, we don't hold back.
So as you turn yourself back into a cartoon, the rippling energy flows out from you across the battlefield, and all of these intimidating Uruk-hai are no longer these tall, imposing beasts. They are now just like kind of poorly rotoscoped animations of regular dudes with like glowing eyes and fangs.
Yes.
But isn't that a little bit scarier?
It's more surreal, I suppose, that's for sure. Yeah, all of these Uruk-hai are a little bit less powerful and intimidating than they were a moment ago. And the Fell Beast also, I think, is also no longer a live-action Fell Beast. It is also a cartoon Fell Beast now.
Nice. From the top of the wall, I will rally the troops and yell. What do I yell? I yell, "Rally, men!" And that's it.
All right. Let's bring it back around to Rigby. What would you like to do?
I'm going to drop my bazooka, run my hand through my mullet, and clench my butt cheeks in my cut-off jean shorts. And I'm going to do a punch of death, leaping off the wall straight into the crowd.
The death punch of death.
The death punch of death.
That sounds pretty flashy to me. Roll to attack.
All right, here we go. That's a +4.
+4, that is quite good.
And you know what? I'll use the second you've got the touch. Anytime I attack during this battle, I'm going to use it.
Yeah, second free invoke.
So that's a +6.
+6. So we've got 2 +6s on your side so far. The Uruk-hai, seeing you flying down, like, you are sending out death punches of death every which way. Like, before you even hit the ground, the Nazgul has tried to intercept you, and you just, bam, right in the face. This thing goes flying all the way back to the Shire, and by the time it arrives in the Shire, the heat from its trajectory has made it very nicely roasted and crispy, and the halflings are having a feast.
Good heavens.
And so now in response to this, the remaining Uruk-hai are like, we gotta get in there before we all die. So they're going to try and rush through the hole in the wall as fast as they can. And they got a +1. That's pretty bad for them. So, yeah, you're down there death punching all of the men of the Rohirrim. Their courage has been mustered by this rallying cry from Gandalf. They're launching pies down into the Uruk-hai, and by this time, the Uruk-hai are so stuffed with pie that they can no longer handle it anymore. And the next thing you know, you have achieved victory here at Helm's Deep. There are cries of joy rallying up all around you, but outside of Helm's Deep, we see one little figure who's gazing back upon Helm's Deep, very lonesome style. Courage, what do you do?
I take one last look at all my friends winning this battle and slowly start walking towards the direction I assume is Mordor, because I don't know that for sure.
Yeah, you begin moving in that direction, and before you can take one step, you feel a hand around one of your ears, and you hear a voice say,
Stupid dog, thinking you could leave me in the middle of a battle.
Oh, Eustace, I have to go. I can't stay here.
Fine, but you can carry me.
and he gets on your shoulders.
I will carry him.
And as you begin to simply walk into Mordor, I think that's where we're going to pick up next time.
Yes.
Oh boy.
Oh, Eustace.
That was beautiful.
Well, everybody, Helm's Deep. It was definitely the most epic part of the adventure today.
I
Yeah?
love how Rigby has become the most OP character in this whole campaign.
Yeah, no kidding.
If you watch the show, Rigby, I'm pretty sure they kill God a few times.
And yeah, we have but one more book remaining in this grand trilogy. What will happen? We'll just have to find out next time. In the meantime, though, everybody, thanks for listening to Improv Tabletop. We'll be back next week with the thrilling conclusion of our adventures in the world of ReToon of the King. And it's actually going to be ReToon of the King this time.
Yeah.
If you want more, go and subscribe. Maybe even give us a review. We would be as happy as the king of Rohan after he ate some happy plums if you go ahead and give us a review on the podcatcher of your choice. We're also all over social media at Improv Tabletop. So if you'd like to connect with us there, maybe you want to talk with Christian about how he power games Fate Accelerated, then don't be afraid to reach out. Now it's time to shout out our next batch of Sticker Club patrons.
Yeah.
This week, we're shouting out Elena Georgieva, Elizabeth McDowell, and James Walker. Yes, the three leading tacticians who were organizing the firing of the catapults and the baking of the pies thereof, eventually realizing that, they want meat to be back on the menu, so we're not going to shoot mincemeat pies at these guys. We're going to shoot lemon meringue pies at them.
Yes.
And that's what made all the difference.
Smart.
Brilliant.
Good move, guys.
Yeah, orcs, they can't stand citrus. They're all about scurvy.
That's canon, actually. Orcs hate citrus.
They love scurvy.
They love scurvy.
I just need to confirm for myself, did I actually accidentally stumble into something that is true about orcs?
As far as I'm aware, orc dietary habits are not established beyond meat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Meat and maggoty bread.
Yeah.
Well, we will have more Sticker Club patrons to shout out next week, and if you, dear listener, want to join their ranks, consider joining our Patreon at patreon.com/improvtabletop, where you can also get things like Discord access, biannual sticker packs, and more, such as our current long-form patron-exclusive campaign, Miceborn, the Mouse Ritter Chronicles.
Yeah.
Yes, this campaign, it's been pretty cool so far. I've been quite a fan.
So much fun.
Yep, we didn't see Shelob in this book, but we might see something Shelob adjacent in Miceborn the Mouse Ritter Chronicles. So keep your eyes open for that.
Man, it's been such a fun game.
So much fun.
Now, let's do a round of plugs. Christian, would you like to take that this time around?
Yes, I would just like to plug again the Mouse Ritter Chronicles, and maybe just Mouse Ritter as a whole. Not an actual sponsor, but I really like that system. It's been super fun. As always, we have our sister podcast, I Cast Fireball. They are doing things, guys. I don't know when you're listening to this, but they are doing things, and I'm quite excited. We also have some other stuff.
Yeah?
Yeah, things. They happen.
My entire brain just went blank. Yes, I Cast Fireball, doing phenomenal things. And then I'm going to plug our Patreon again because I just want people to be able to experience the Miceborn campaign. It is such a blast. It has been so fun to record so far. And I want you to experience it.
I'll second that. We're having so much fun. We hope you guys have fun listening. It's great.
Yeah, Mouse Rider as a game too, I really love it. It's based off of a game called Into the Odd, which is a really fun game as well. But this one, I love how much community support it has for being such an independent game. It was just published by one dude. It's completely free online. It's like 48 pages long. And they just put up a really cool Kickstarter that a whole bunch of people contributed to for this mega dungeon, the Tomb of 1,000 Doors. It's a really fun project. I encourage you all to give it a look. And I believe that's going to do it this time around. So thanks for joining us here in the world of ReToon of the King. I'm Ned Wilcock, your host and GM, and I've been joined by...
Caleb Anderton, pies to see you.
Christian Randall, Lone Warrior.
And Thomas Ryden. Thomas Ryden?
Yeah, riding those horses with the Rohirrim.
Thomas Ryden into Mordor, or being ridden into Mordor.
By Eustace, that is correct.
What on earth?
Much love and stuff, everybody. We'll catch you next time on Improv Tabletop. Can we hear that whistle, Caleb? That fancy Gandalf whistle? I'm assuming Discord didn't pick it up, but you definitely did it.
We have to all act really impressed.
Wow, what a whistle.
Whoa, that was such a good whistle.
Whoa.
Holy cow.
Jeez.
This sounds just like Ian McKellen.
I've been transported.
When you go back and edit, you need to cut the sound of his whistle out.
Lord Shadowfax, Lord of Horses, let me whistle, and I'm sure he shall appear.
Did that work?
Whoa, what a cool whistle.